What's up gamers, Duma here and welcome to the game room. Today was going to be an update to the 1-bar Bowden using subclassing, which ended around 114k DPS or so. I've also been messing around with the Minion master build, kind of just using every available summon in the game. Then I decided to combine the two, highly min-max it in a super weird way, and ended up with one of the strangest builds I've ever seen. This is a 1-bar staff using melee build, the whole zoo of summons giving it that Beastmaster feel that parses over 122k DPS using no trial gear, no mythics, no scribing, and has a static rotation. I don't know what's going on anymore, dude. Jesus, take the wheel. This one's crazy. Also on our website, we have a whole new build hub with filters we are slowly transitioning to as builds get updated to make finding the builds that fit your needs that much easier, as well as builds being on their own page now to help with mobile lag. On that note, this build's written guide is up and available for you now over at the GAMEROOM.tv. Let's go. For this build, you can use any of the 3 classes of Warden, Sorcerer, or Nightblade, with any stamina-based race, Dark Elf giving you the most DPS. And then we put all 64 points into stamina. For our gear, we're using the dungeon set of Aegis Caller. If you don't want to farm this, Pillar of Nirn also works great here, but I did get a few thousand higher DPS parts with Aegis, so it's up to you. Then we couple that with the new crafted set of Tideborn. This set starts our weird min-maxing for the build, using its 5 set to increase our direct damage by 12%. Then we couple that with a lightning staff for a 12% more direct damage increase from the Destro Staff Ancient Knowledge passives. Then we add the Master at Arms CP for another 6% direct damage increase, with all of them together super juicing our direct damage, which is the largest percentage of our total damage sources. Then we cap that off with a Maw of the Infernal monster set for another summon to the build and adding a really solid over 9,000 DPS plus whatever burning damage percentage it added, split with our flame enchant. So extremely good monster set here. Make sure you have 2 light pieces to min-max crit and crit damage. If you want to super min-max this, you can craft your Tideborn in light in the belt and glove spot. But it's not a solo build, so the difference is mostly negligible. You can just run double light monster set as well if you prefer. Whatever's easiest for you. All divine traits and max stamina on the body pieces, bloodthirsty and physical harm on the jewelry, and precise trait with flame enchant on the staff. CP is here for you as well. Here are your skills, which I'll break down for you more in depth, and then we have the Thief Mundus, Lava Foot Soup, and Weapon Power Potions. If you want more health, since we're taking advantage of subclassing and using bound armaments on the back bar for additional stamina on the front bar, which I'll explain more here in just a moment, rather than change food to something like Artaeum Takeaway Broth for more health, keep this food for the sustain, and just lower your stamina attribute some and add more health attributes to a comfortable amount for you. That way you don't lose sustain for the food change. For our abilities, let's start on the back bar. Since we aren't using Oaken Soul, we can add abilities back here that will help us on the front bar without bar swapping. First, we're going to put the Nightblade ability of Relentless Focus. Let this stack to 10 times and just leave it stacked. This is going to give us a big chunk of weapon damage on our front bar. Next, we slot the Sorcerer skill, Bound Armament, which gives us 8% more stamina on the front bar. Don't worry about ever using the actual stacks of either of these abilities. Just let them ride. Then we add both Sorcerer pets and our Warden Bear Ultimate pet back here in case you ever do want a bar swap to have access to this flex spot here, and then that way the pets won't despawn on you. For this flex spot, you have lots of options. Here are some suggestions. You can slot Bull Netch here if you ever have any sustain issues, and add another summon floating around for the RP aspect of the build. Another option is Piercing Mark from the Nightblade skill line for Major Breach. Since it's a melee build and live content, you can use something like Lotus Fan to teleport to enemies, apply an AoE dot to everything, and a minor vulnerability, increasing the damage you do to them, which is a really fun option, kind of like the Bloody Ninja build. You can slot Harden Ward for a shield, a Warden morph of Wings for Major Expedition, which is great, Vigor for a heal, tons of options. Think of this spot as a utility spot, not something you want to add into your damage rotation, and you'll be good to go. On the front bar, we have our 2 Sorcerer pets. The Familiar you want to try and keep active all the time. Its damage is notable. With Tormentor, you usually use it once at the start of the fight and then never again. So since the build has so much really insane DPS for 1-bar build, you can just do a little bit less damage, swap this to the other morph of Matriarch, and then bam, you have one of the best burst heals in the game, healing 2 people. That's probably the best live content move from the build if that interests you. Then we have Daedric Prey, which lasts for 6 seconds, does a burst of damage at the end, and increases your Sorcerer pet summons damage by 50%. Then Sub Assault, which also lasts for 6 seconds, and does a burst of damage twice over the duration. I know initially some of you be like, Sub Assault and Prey, this rotation's gonna suck, but don't worry, I got got you. It's actually extremely simple and static. I'll cover it in just a moment. Then we have our main spammable. This is actually doing a ton for us here. It's a solid spammable. It's reliably proccing off balance for us on our target in dungeons and trials without having to worry about it coming from somewhere else for our exploiter CP. Free crit every 3 seconds from it, and it procs Sundered, which is not only a notable portion of the parts at almost 4k DPS, but also adding 100 weapon and spell damage to the build, juicing all of our damage sources. Then, huge, we get free crit rating from it from the Nightblade pressure points passives, and 10% free crit damage, allowing us to allocate the Backstabber CP slottable into something else for even more DPS. So a complete boatload of value packed into this one ability slotted on the bar. For your Parse opener, stand a bit away from the dummy so familiar doesn't hit it early. Use potion, activate both pets, then use sub assault, move to the dummy, pray as you're approaching, bear ulti, and then 3 surprise attacks. From there, it's easy mode of sub assault followed by pray, then 4 surprise attacks. That's it. You just repeat that over and over and over. You never use Tormentor again, and then when familiar needs to be refreshed or your bear ulti is available, you just use those in place of a surprise attack, never breaking the pattern of sub assault, pray, followed by 4 abilities. It's a static rotation from the beginning to the end. It never changes. And that's it, gamers. Absolutely crazy stuff. Please let me know in the comments how you feel about it if you don't mind. I'm interested in how you feel about these crazy, weird new builds. I'll also leave you with the Parse using the Pillar of Nirn option at 120k DPS as well, so you can see in action. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the build and have a wonderful day.